At 10, Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy is one of the newer Glamrock animatronics in Security Breach, but he instantly made his way into the hearts of thousands, but also made the skeptics come out in others, mainly me. Glamrock Freddy is based off the original Freddy Fazbear, but with an early UK 1970s vibe. Similar to Toy Freddy, he has a top hat, but now with a thin blue stripe just above its brim. He has a microphone on a stand, obviously, because I mean he's the lead singer. Glamrock Freddy, also within the game, is Gregory's protector and is trying to help him survive until 6 a.m. and escape the Pizzaplex, although he goes about it in horrible ways, but that's aside the point. With the player being able to climb into his stomach, referred to as the birthday cake hatch on the PlayStation blog. And then you can take control of him and, you know, kind of use him as a mech, but not do any fun stuff, but that's aside the point. He was voiced by Kellen Goff, who also voiced Funtime Freddy in Sister Location, Rockstar Foxy, Mr. Hippo, the Funtime Foxy in Ultimate Custom Night, and an unused Bonnie voice from FNAF VR, but I mean, considering how he's the latest Freddy, he kinda needs to be referenced, right? At least in my head. In at 9, the Daycare Attendant. The Daycare Attendant, as it's referred to on the wiki and by other animatronics in game, is actually just the sun drop and moon drop animatronic that we know and should be extremely creeped out by. The Daycare Attendant features a crescent moon-shaped head in its moon form, with half of it colored black to fill in the missing portions where the sun face would be. Its face in moon mode also has a large nose and a grin, coupled with two glowing red eyes, one of which is above the tip of its nose, and its hands are like that same white color as its face with like dark blue fingernails. It also, you know, has two leather wristbands with ribbons on them for some reason, has a nightcap, and just baggy pants. Because of course it does. We all sleep in hammer pants, right? Hammer time. In its sun appearance, it's colored almost entirely of various shades of yellow. It's happy, it's not trying to kill you, but you know what? It's creepy as hell, especially in moon mode. Can you imagine this guy dropping off like your pizza, and it's just like you just open the door just as it hits the top of the hour and then it instantly wants to kill you? Or like it's getting dark outside after you've placed your order and you just hope to God that they don't give you the daycare attendant as like a delivery robot, or maybe like the face on the actual box. I don't know, that would be funny. It'd be like Russian roulette but with animatronics and pizza. They put a random face for an animatronic on the box, and if you get the moon, you're dead, or if you get someone evil, you're dead. I don't know. In at 8, Normal Freddy. Freddy was the mascot when the first Freddy Fazbear's opened in 1983. At that time it was Freddy Fazbear's, and then also Fredbear's Family Diner. But in 1987, he and his original animatronics had fallen into severe disrepair, and Freddy was replaced with his newer counterpart for the improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza called Toy Freddy. After that pizzeria's closing though, as well as the toy animatronics being scrapped, he and the original animatronics were refurbished for the new pizzeria and the events of the first game. However, after the closure of that pizzeria, because you know that's not a red flag at all, he and the animatronics get dismantled by William Afton trying to learn their secrets, and then yeah, we know what happens after that. Either way, Freddy is literally the title character of not only the delivery service, but the series as well. And while he may not have been originally intended to move from the stage unless he ran out of power, he does now. He's the most iconic FNAF animatronic ever. And with like 20 or so variations on his design over the past 8 years, yeah, I want to know, I expect to see Freddy in some form, okay? Maybe even a toy version, or a toy itself that can just be included with your order. Okay, and if he isn't there, I will riot at the local Chuck E. Cheese. And I'm not just talking about the face on the pizza box, that's not good enough. And it's 7, Mini-Renas. Mini-Renas are small, bare, female-style mannequin-like dolls that accompany Ballora in her gallery, dancing alongside of her. They seem to be modeled after artist mannequins with articulated joints and heads that appear to be simply full white masks covering a ball joint at the neck. They do not have any details or moving facial parts, no teeth, no eyes. The only exception being during their jump scare animation, at which time they have glowing yellow irises. Potentially for paranormal reasons, but it's unclear. Their feet are colored in a pale white to make them look like they're wearing shoes, and when on stage with Ballora they wear tutus, like she does, because of course they do. How could they get any creepier? Only colored in white though, and less detailed than hers. However, they are completely bare during Sister Location's Night Force Springlock suit event, which makes me feel like I need to call Chris Hansen, but either way, these little fuckers are absolutely backrooms material. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Try and disagree with me. These are just trying to crawl inside me so they'll burst from the inside like they do in Fazbear Fright's book Room for One More, or in the story Room for One More. But instead of escaping the backrooms, they just want me to explode. Or hell, they'll crawl inside me hoping that I'll escape so that I can take them with me. Just no. Okay? hell no. Oh, hell no. And at 6, Springtrap. We know that Springtrap is William Afton in the suit and not technically an animatronic because of that. However, considering how FNAF 3, the game in which Springtrap was introduced, takes place in 2023, 30 years after the close of the FNAF 1 location in 1997, it would make sense that the real Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, be it a delivery service or not, that is launching most likely in 2023, would include a reference to this animatronic in some fashion. I mean, come on. When something lines up this perfectly, you can't miss an opportunity like it. Especially when you're Scott motherfucking Cawthon. This guy released the second FNAF game exactly 87 days after the first, thinking that the first one would probably fail again. He's not doing this by accident. I am positive that the only reason it got announced this year is because we found it when looking for clues to a FNAF ARG, which didn't exist, okay? Even if it's just like a Springtrap pizza that's like maybe got some burnt cheese and a lot of sauce and then some meat strips on it, I feel like it's kind of required at this point, man. So please, Scott, please do this. Come on. Halfway through into number 5, Nightmare Freddy. Nightmare Freddy is one of the most iconic versions of the Freddy character, even if there are only 3 games that feature them, those being FNAF 4, Ultimate Custom Night, and FNAF VR. However, this Nightmare Freddy cosplay is absolutely insane, and in my opinion, it would have been the front runner for the Coupe de France cosplay competition, but that was back in 2017. The video was uploaded by YouTube channel Gorgon Geek, and this guy plays the robot thing very well, but as soon as he drops that microphone, he goes into like terror mode, which is certainly something to behold, okay? I would have enjoyed it if he had the frettles with him, but the moving mouth is certainly a nice touch on this costume, especially with the attempted jump scares that they do in the video, like the Imagine if this guy got up on stage in a freaking Nightmare Freddy costume and then just started twerking. That would have won them the gold, okay? I don't know if they won or not, but that if they had it, that's what would have gotten you the gold, okay? But also, if Nightmare Freddy was the one delivering me my pizza, I don't think that I would actually end up eating it, just from sheer fear that they would have poisoned it, or maybe you put too many chili flakes on it. I mean, like, come on, look at me. And at 4, Foxy. In the original FNAF game, FNAF 1, Foxy is unique in the way that he will emerge from Pirate's Cove either faster or slower depending on how often you actually open that camera. If you look at it too little, he's gonna come out faster until he's actually left the cove, runs down the West Hall and into the office, and then once he reaches the door, he'll either knock loudly and reduce the power by 1% or kill you. And the amount of power that Foxy takes actually increases by 5% each attack, starting at 1, then going to 6, 11, 16, and so on. After this attack though, he immediately resets to a random position within Pirate's Cove. He can be like ready to go right after. Foxy is the pirate who is like kind of maroon. He wears an eye patch on his face because he's a pirate. He has a hook for his right arm. Foxy also is like a little bit of his leg. His endoskeleton is showing. He's a pirate and he definitely has scurvy. He also has a kind of a paler belly because like that's how you just draw cartoon animals. Since I mean like I think the way that works is that like that area would typically see less sun and I think that's why it's lighter. But either way, with Foxy being a fan favorite, it would be a shame not to see him in some capacity in the restaurant. Even if he has his own section or something, or like has his own like Pirate's Cove kind of like thing that you can scroll through, or like I've suggested previously, his own type of pizza, okay? It would be funny. I want to see it. Getting close to the end, and at number 3, Nightmare Animatronics. The Nightmare Animatronics are also heavily withered, exaggeratingly monstrous versions of the existing animatronics that reside inside the crying child's coma dream in FNAF 4. Most of the Nightmare animatronics are featured with a deteriorated appearance and a big series of rips and holes all over their bodies, sporting a total of 10 fingers each with spike-like claws attached. Great, wonderful. Also an excessively large amount of long, dangerously sharp teeth. They also have small metallic eyes, because of course they do. Their endoskeleton heads look suspiciously similar to that of a human skull, with a line of indentations down their forehead, and considering their name, it's literally the Nightmare animatronics that I think would absolutely be fitting to be in the back rooms. I mean, like, look at them and tell me that these buggers don't belong here, and you'll be lying to me. But at least you're not under oath. Penultimately, in at number 2, Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is the mysterious ghost-like version of Freddy who kind of takes on the form of, you know, a yellow Freddy. He plays a somewhat prominent role in the FNAF series, although his origins are cryptic and unknown, kind of. Many speculate that Crying Child was at one point possessing the animatronic, which would be an easy confirmation to make in this by just sending out some hints on the pizza boxes, you know, like writing something on like under the lid or something like that. On the other hand though, many also believe that Golden Freddy is possessed by Cassidy, and that Cassidy is also the vengeful spirit, aka the one you should not have killed. Although, in my research again, it's more likely that Crying Child is the vengeful spirit, although no one wants to believe me, because they won't actually think about it. It makes more sense, okay? Crying Child is vengeful spirit, Cassidy is Golden Freddy. They're two separate things at this point, because you can't possess an animatronic but also a person. How would that work? At least if you're not William Afton and, you know, a kid. It also makes for a better story. And in all honesty, Cassidy has no significance to the story, or at least less significance than Crying Child. And at this point, Golden Freddy doesn't even really do much story-wise, okay? They're only significant because the fans fell in love with the character because they were so mysterious. The only way that Golden Freddy actually has an impact to the story is because we made them have an impact. But either way, alright, it would still be great to see Golden Freddy in some fashion, okay? Because it means that we might get something to help us figure out literally anything about this character. And I'm going crazy about it, so do it! And finally, into number 1, staff bots. The Vanny bots, as I call them, or as they're listed on the wiki, the Nightmare on staff bots, bear a same model appearance to their newer counterpart staff bots, except this time they're rusty, they have glowing white eyes, a creepy smile, and, you know, they're possessed by Vanny or controlled by Vanny, something like that. They also have, like, tear streaks, kind of like Nightmare. Anyway, Nightmare on staff bots roles are largely unchanged from the regular staff bots. However, they only appear in the security variant, because, you know, like, the Nightmare on staff bots are only lethal in the sewers if you fall into the pits, but they also appear in hidden areas and during Vanny's sequence where she disassembles Freddy, and also in the canon ending to the security breach when you go into the place and you get the Afton ending and you go through FNAF 6's pizzeria. But even, like, not just those bots, but like the actual staff bots that cover the Mega Pizzaplex, I want to see them. It would be hilarious to include in some form on the app, okay? I mean, like, they'd be the ones serving us if we went to the Mega Pizzaplex, right? So it makes sense. I mean, like, this is 2023, so in FNAF terms, we're only about to see Springtrap come back and not actually the Pizzaplex, but it would still be funny to see, okay? Even if timeline-wise in the real world it's unrealistic. But that's the kind of thing that FNAF does, right? Unrealistic timelines? Yeah, I'm triggered. In 10, Scrap Baby. Scrap Baby is a creepy animatronic, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, okay? Scrap Baby is by far creepier than the normal baby animatronic because, I mean, it's scrapped, so this costume certainly does it justice. Animatronics are a difficult costume to really make, okay? I mean, it's understandable because, you know, we're people and unfortunately don't have robotic limbs for the most part. Or if we do, we typically try and make it look like a real leg instead of a robot leg. But Scrap Baby is even more difficult because, you know, it's a scrap animatronic and it has a giant freaking claw. So yeah, Scrap Baby is very damaged and it's a recycled version of Baby, okay? Realistic reddish, orange, light blue hair, yellow pigtails. It's weird, alright? It's weird, okay? She has an orange top with red furls and it's very damaged. Yet somehow Instagram user Gaia Spaziani was able to recreate this in an awesome way, okay? So very well done, and maybe you can use it as inspiration for yourself. In at 9, Springtrap. Oh boy. Craftix Gaming's YouTube channel features a video of a real Springtrap costume, and honestly, it's terrifying. Springtrap is the main antagonist of FNAF 3, and this costume is freaking nuts, okay? This is a very good costume, and while Springtrap may not be the scariest animatronic per se, he's not someone that I'm gonna tussle with, you know? However, I do want to talk about what's going on with this character, because my guy, you just dressed up as a possessed man who is inhabiting an animatronic unable to die, but yet still somehow decaying. I don't get it. You're quite literally dressing up as a serial killer at this point. Like in the FNAF world, if you dressed up like this, it would be you dressed up as like Ted Bundy. It was like an equivalent in this world, okay? So if you want to be in FNAF that badly, maybe don't dress as a serial killer is all I'm saying, okay? I know that's ironic coming from me, given that I wear a purple shirt on the regular, but do I look like I want to be in FNAF? No, I cry about it on the daily. I have made things very clear that I don't want to be in this world, and if you don't know that, go watch more videos, okay? But this is nuts, okay? That's insane, and if Springtrap was delivering me my pizza, I probably would cry. In at 8, Ennard. Costumes don't really have to be elaborate to be scary, okay? Take this for example. This Ennard cosplay by the YouTube channel Skywarped33. This entire endoskeleton, like spaghetti bits, they aren't there, but the lights and sounds make it even more frightening than you'd think, okay? The face also opens up, and I think that we all know how I feel about animatronics who can move their face at will, or at least move their face in separate sections. functions. Okay, it's not something that should be allowed. However, even without all the parts and the various eyes, this Ennard cosplay is not something that I would want to run into in a dark alley, especially not after that goddamn vent repair minigame, because that caused me to have serious issues, okay? I used to like spaghetti, man, okay? Now what do? I won't be ordering spaghetti from this delivery service, that's for damn sure, although if they do have Ennard spaghetti on the menu, I might have to. But no, okay? Especially if the driver shows up wearing this, because holy crap, that would be terrifying, and I would rather die than see a real-life Ennard. So yeah, maybe actually don't do this, at least if you're delivering to me. And it's 7 Melted Chocolate Bonnie. Melted Chocolate Bonnie is a variant of Chocolate Bonnie released on April 1st, 2021 in FNAF AR. He's the 4th skin for Bonnie and the first skin of 2021 to be released alone. Melted Chocolate Bonnie looks near identical to Chocolate Bonnie, except he's obviously melting. I mean, like, duh. He also has way more holes than the original Chocolate Bonnie, some of which show more of his endoskeleton, and he's now a slightly darker shade of brown. But finally, on his upper left arm, lower right arm, and his left hand, various small sprinkles can be seen. It's kind of like those Little Debbie rainbow sprinkle brownies. And even if it reminds me of cherished childhood treats, this thing is still scary. It being melted gives it more of a ruined appearance, like this just shouldn't exist, which adds to the whole creep factor, because I mean, like, it's like a zombie, but like a chocolate zombie, which isn't healthy because it wants you to eat it. But if you take a bite, you'll become a chocolate zombie too. Nevertheless, can you please sell chocolate bonnies that you would like chocolate bunnies that you would just call chocolate bonnies, please? I mean, like, it wouldn't be difficult. You could like vacuum form a mold of like the Funko toy for Bonnie and then just fill it with chocolate and then boom, you're good to go. Like, please make this a thing. I need this in my life. And at 6, Buff Helpy. Okay, so this may not be like cosplay or a costume that someone could reasonably wear, but Buff Helpy is probably the most disturbing non-cosplay character that I can really include on this list. If you don't already know, somehow, Buff Helpy is a meme that was created on a Daco FNAF meme review video and has ever since been haunting him and the rest of the community, okay? Don't get me wrong, I do love Helpy, but this Buff Helpy meme generated a whole load of buff FNAF character ideas that now terrify me. Nowhere is safe from these horrific creations. If you look up any character, you're bound to find a buff version of them at some point. It's kind of like those games where it's like, let's search up a character and see how long it takes them to be sexualized, and then they scroll down. Do that with a FNAF character, but see how fast it makes them buff, okay? It's the same thing that happens to Chica, but buff, okay? No matter what this is, like what form of psychological torment this is, I would not wish it on my worst enemy. However, I'm talking about it because, you know what? It's hilarious. If Buff Helpy showed up delivering my pizza, I would constantly order from this place. Not because I want to see some like buff shirtless dude in a Helpy mask actually hand me my food, but because that is the most genius marketing ploy ever, and I would be very proud of them. Halfway through into number 5, Boulder Toy Bonnie. Boulder Toy Bonnie is a stone toy Bonnie released on November 9th of 2020 in FNAF AR. He was also added as Toy Bonnie's second skin and the second member of the Haunted Forest event. Boulder Toy Bonnie is a completely gray toy Bonnie made up entirely of stone. His body shows severe damage as parts of him have crumbled off and various cracks show throughout his stomach and limbs. He's also shown to be covered in moss and has vegetation growing out of some of the cracks in his body. Finally, his eye sockets are also completely empty like my soul, and he has a full set of upper teeth unlike his normal counterpart. And if this isn't just like the 5 Nights at Freddy's version of Peanut, the SCP, I don't know what is, okay? Like this is just Peanut with a different paint job. For all I know, Boulder Toy Bonnie is probably reinforced with rebar. And while they may not be SCP-173, I still feel like this is the sort of behavior that we could expect from Bonnie, or at least this version of Bonnie in the back rooms. And I think it would actually fit in quite well, to be honest. I think it would work. Camera's on him, it pans away, and then he's gone. In it for Nightmare. I've said it before and I will say it again. Nightmare is the scariest animatronic from these games, hands down. Get it? Because I put my hands down. This guy will get me every time, and it's one of the reasons that I refuse to play FNAF 4. The other one is Nightmare Fredbear, okay? But at least I don't have to really deal with them in real life, right? Oh wait, yeah, just talked about it. This is only like a Nightmare character character created in the mind of a coma patient in a video game, but it is still the worst thing ever. Especially thanks to Zombunny Creations on Amino Apps, okay? We've got both Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear. Ironically enough, Nightmare Fredbear is played by their twin sister. It's ironic because Elizabeth Apton is sometimes presumed to be Crying Child's twin sister. And anyway, these absolute hulking costumes are going to make me, let's say, drop a Snickers bar in my pants. If I saw this in real life, Jesus, imagine like actually like living in a house that's kind of laid out like the one from FNAF 4, and then like your kids want to play a prank on you, and then they dress in these and they come from either side. For God's sakes, I would actually rather die. If that is what's going to happen, I do not want kids. My grandparents' house is kind of laid out like that. Like not exactly, but it has like 2 sections of like on either side of the room, okay? So that could theoretically be reenacted, and if that ever happens, I'm going to cry. So if you start delivering my pizza dressed as Nightmare, actually good for you. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, the puppet. The puppet is an animatronic puppet, obviously, and a major antagonist, but also a good guy in the FNAF series. First appearing as the main antagonist of FNAF 2, but later in the game showing its heroic side, it possibly serves as the prize vendor of the newly refurbished Freddy Fazbear's from 1987. Although it's implied that it was originally from Fredbear's Family Diner, or at least its inspiration was. After the pizzeria was only open for a few short weeks, it was then closed down, but the puppet, unlike the toy animatronics who were scrapped due to malfunctions, this one actually wasn't scrapped, appearing later in the new pizzeria in the first game, kind of. He's in dream cutscenes, and he also appears in posters on the wall. Him not being there can just be due to the fact that Scott hadn't designed the character yet. And then it also appeared as Lefty in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator FNAF 6. Lefty was also an animatronic intended to capture the puppet, because, you know, it was being possessed by the soul of Henry's daughter, Charlotte, and there's a whole other thing. But it's also widely believed and fairly confirmed at this point that Charlotte is William's first victim, meaning that overall they have like the most significance to the story ever. So definitely required if we're going to be having a real life delivery service, okay? I want there to be a prize counter section of the menu, okay? Whether it sells toys or it's just there for a joke, I need it. It's not a want. Okay, this is a need. It is required legally. But ultimately, in number 2, Glitch Trap. We know my issue with Glitch Trap, alright? We know that I just want to watch William Afton burn in the deepest pits of hell and then leave me be. I want him to be in actual hell and then stay there for all of eternity so that I can move on with my life, okay? I hate this I always come back thing that he's got going on, okay? It's stupid. And despite being dressed as the purple guy on various occasions, I still want William dead. So, when I saw this frighteningly realistic looking Glitch Trap costume, my nerves hit an all-time high. I think the sheer simplicity of a Glitch Trap suit is definitely something that makes this a hell of a creepy costume, since, you know, the stitches here are very accentuated. It's very clear, it has higher contrast than the actual suit in the game, but either way, it's freaking creepy. And if a serial killer is going to hand me my pizza, I don't know, I was gonna say something that would make the cops concerned, and I feel like I've done that enough, so like, let's not have serial killers hand me my pizza, okay? But you know what? Good job, Zombunny Creations on Twitter, okay? But like, why? Why'd you do this to me? And finally, into number 1, Purple Guy. While Purple Guy, again, isn't an animatronic, and I guess neither is Glitch Trap or Vanny, but you know what? I had to pad out this list somehow. I think seeing some dude dressed in purple delivering me my freaking Freddy Fazbear branded pizza would actually scare me to death. Like, I don't wear purple on this channel anymore because people kept calling me the Purple Guy, and the cops don't need any more ammunition against me, but also because I can't actually find that shirt at the moment. But still, this is something that I would absolutely do. If I had a car, I honestly might have actually delivered food for the Freddy Fazbear's pizza delivery service if it ends up opening in Canada. And you know damn well that if I was doing it, I would be dressing in all purple with a security badge on my chest, maybe even like a purple phone case for the occasion, just because it would be hilarious. Okay, I don't need a spring lock crank. Those aren't actually a thing in real life. While the term spring lock is used in real life, it's a totally different mechanism from what's actually in FNAF, okay? I'm certain most of you get the whole spring locks are real line from the Spring Locks in You How to Not Die Remastered thread from the FNAF wiki. However, actual spring locks are just locks that use spring. Like, from my research, what I gathered was that a spring lock in real life is, in simplest terms, if your front door's deadbolt was on a spring. Every other instance talking about real spring locks is just, it simply brings you to that page, or it quotes that page. So yeah, spring locks as they're used in the games do not exist in real life. Okay, the term is used, but in the real life it's 2 separate words instead of 1, and they are nowhere close to the same thing. And at 10, Plush Babies. Plush Babies are 3 plushie antagonists in FNAF Help Wanted. They are plush versions of Circus Baby and are a part of the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience, the game that we playtest in that game that we play, which is already a whole other can of worms, but whatever. The Plush Babies, as the name suggests, are plushies based on Circus Baby. They are small and white with orange hair, red noses, red cheeks, and blue eyes with eyelashes. The 3 are distinguished by their dress colors of red, blue, and yellow. The blue plush baby has red stitching on her torso. The yellow plush baby is missing her right eye. Around their eyes they have black outlining sewn onto them resembling the faceplates of Circus Baby. And in their black light level, the plush babies are replaced by their black light counterparts, the Scrap plush babies. Their appearance is more based on Scrap Baby, with more greenish eyes, which based on the baby animatronic is certainly going to make things confusing, because I doubt that these dolls are possessed by Elizabeth. However, while the original Circus Baby did have blue eyes, Scrap Baby was only shown with green eyes, which could explain the difference. But either way, okay, these little buggers are everywhere, so their dark room would absolutely be in the back rooms somewhere. I wouldn't doubt it at all. And at 9, Radioactive Foxy. Radioactive Foxy is one of the Wasteland themed skins in the Wasteland event of Special Delivery. Radioactive Foxy is almost identical to normal Foxy, the only difference being that Radioactive Foxy is glowing neon green, and his body is actually kind of translucent as well, making his endoskeleton fairly visible. It also features a faint radioactive symbol on his stomach, and a dual hook consisting of a different design compared to that of Foxy's normal hook, because he's radioactive and therefore he's mutated. Get it? Well, you know this thing is creepy enough to be in the back rooms by default, okay? Not being put there, not being placed there, not falling through, just being there from the start at the moment of creation. Hell, the back rooms may have been created to contain Radioactive Foxy. The dude is an actual menace. And at 8, VR Toy Freddy. VR Toy Freddy is a neon-themed skin of Toy Freddy released on May 7th, 2020. He is also the first skin for Toy Freddy in FNAF AR Special Delivery. He is the first of 3 skins in the Arcade Mayhem event, and honestly, these 3 animatronics, they would all make sense in the back rooms, okay? I've put them all on the various lists. They've been like 1 per list, and they would be. VR Toy Freddy appears to be of similar nature to Toy Freddy Fazbear, almost sharing the exact same model with him, but this one is wearing VR goggles. His appearance is almost a dark neon purple and black, which also applies to his hat, bow tie, and buttons and microphone. He's textured with a few cyber-styled circuit lines and wears a VR headset, but my question is, what brand? Is it HTC Vive, Valve, PlayStation VR, or Oculus? Preferably Oculus, that's my brand of choice. Hashtag not sponsored. However, during encounters, he is replaced by his attack mode variant called Livewire Toy Freddy. In this form, his purple color changes to a fiery orange, he's covered in several glowing yellow circuit web textures, and he is no longer wearing his headset and reveals his bright yellow-green eyes. And just as I've described with System Era Toy Bonnie and High Score Toy Chica, this would be a likely entity to appear in the backrooms if it is indeed a developer room for the simulation. And at 7, Vanny. With Vanny being the villain in the last game and already one of the most popular characters in the entire series, I know that she's not an animatronic, okay, but chill. There are bound to be plenty of costumes of the character. However, this specific one from Rojita Ubu on Twitter is probably the most accurate and creepiest one I've seen. And yes, I said Ubu with a straight face, and let's ignore it. Vanny being a reluctant follower does in a way technically make this also a glitch trap cosplay as well. We won't talk about it because that's not what counts unless you want to consider glitch trap an animatronic, in which case it's totally fine if you want to think that. This costume is probably the most realistic one on this list because, well, I mean, Vanny in the games ended up making her own suit and it's just a human inside, whereas the others like Scrap Baby or Springtrap are animatronics as well as being part human, be it soul or another body. And Rojita's costume actually follows the exact same concept. It's just a person who makes their own suit, which potentially makes this the scariest thing of all, but honestly, considering how she is currently the serial killer in the series, at least the version that actually has like proper working limbs, I would very much appreciate not seeing a real Vanny delivering me my pizza balls. No thanks. And at 6, Toxic Springtrap. Toxic Springtrap is the second skin in the Wasteland event from FNAF AR, and he is also the first skin for Springtrap in that game. Toxic Springtrap has a repulsive appearance, covered in pale-like tumor-like warts, tentacle-like veins, and some moldy skin patches. And he also is exuding gassy fumes at all times, kinda like like me. The infectious looking traits, including his corpse, were shaded with purple and indigo tints as possibly a throwback to his iconic color of his human form's minigame appearance, the purple guy. But I mean, along the same lines as Radioactive Foxy, this is just a seemingly broken mechanic that would get thrown away for when they wanted to do the whole Apocalypse DLC in the simulation or something. This virus didn't kill us, so might as well try again with a series of mutated and toxic animatronics, right? Ha! Well, at least this version of Springtrap is still less toxic than some of my exes, and I will keep making that joke until it stops being true. Halfway through it at number 5, Toy Chica. You knew I was gonna put this on this list, and you know damn well why, okay? You see, some people both online and in the office think that I have an unhealthy admiration of Toy Chica. But the thing is, Chica's just a vessel for all my jokes because I'm terrible with women, which I don't think is much better, honestly, or much of a surprise. Either way, Toy Chica is a major antagonist and one of the toy animatronics first appearing in FNAF 2. This version is an improved replacement of Chica, like the original one, which is now Withered Chica, or at least in that game is Withered Chica, serving as the backup singer for the newly refurbished Freddy Fazbear's in 1987. And while in the end she did get scrapped due to multiple malfunctions, she will remain in my heart. Okay, I'm just hoping that there is some form of joke about facial recognition or something that you can buy, maybe like Chica's beak or something. Okay, I don't know, it would be funny if there was some form of reference to Chica but also Toy Chica, because like they could explain the line of why would Toy Chica be missing her beak that Scott left in MatPat's FNAF theory stream after one of his FNAF 4 theory videos years ago, okay? That would be a nice explanation, because I've been confused ever since. If it's not dream theory, what the f is it? In at 3, Withered Bonnie. This Withered Bonnie cosplay is probably one of the scariest FNAF cosplays I've seen and the scariest Bonnie cosplay. It is incredible that someone could actually do this, and it comes from the YouTube user The Nick of Time. At first, I legitimately thought that this was CGI instead of an actual costume, but lo and behold, it was just an insanely cool costume. Glowing eyes, seemingly actual aluminum parts, and a chest that opens that you can push out with the other hand, which results in actually quite the decent jump scare, okay? Frankly, in the video, I was kind of taken aback by that, so you know what? If that's where my pizza came out of, I don't know if I would take it. This kind of thing always impresses the hell out of me, because like, so far, the closest I've come to making a full costume was when I helped someone work on a costume, okay? But that's the closest I've got, and I can't even think to make something like this. So if you show up and my pizza pops out of like your abdomen chest area, I'm gonna tip you 100%, that's insane. But ultimately, in at number 2, Plush Trap. You've completed a mini game in Help Wanted, alright? The DLC or the main game. You spent the last 10 minutes being terrified out of your wits because you could have died, but it's okay now. It's all over and you're safe. You see a gift box in front of you and this spooky barn-like thing, and you've decided that, you know what, you've earned yourself a little treat. So after throwing some darts at some clown posters to see if there is one, you end up cranking that handle and you wait for your sweet treat. But then, all of a sudden, Plush Trap decides that, you know what, you should have died instead in that minigame, so he jump scares you. This event is a number of things, but possible in the back rooms, in my mind, is one of them. You stumble upon a random box with a handle that you start to crank. You hear the Pop Goes the Weasel song playing slowly, and suddenly you have a damn tiny burnt tortilla ass looking rabbit monster chasing you all throughout the back rooms. That makes sense, but no thank you. Not gonna happen. I don't like it. I mean, I like it. It's a good idea, but don't do it. In at 10, White Rabbit. The White Rabbit is a version of Bonnie first appearing in FNAF World, and while this game is probably the least respected and most hated in the series, my god is this thing terrifying. This is like a miniature version of Bonnie, alright? That's not so bad, right? Well, the thing is, it's completely white and has sunken black eyes with no pupils. Yeah, that makes this thing look freaking terrifying. I don't care, okay, that you go to the comments and complain that this character is here, okay? It happens every time I make a list. There's always like at least one person who says, oh, this isn't scary, why are they on this list? Scary is subjective, okay? So shove it. Anyway, this little white rabbit is one of the scariest versions of Bonnie in the series in my opinion. It's only higher up on the list because of the game. If it was in something like FNAF 4 or another main series title, it would have been scarier, especially putting it in a situation like that. But nevertheless, I still think it deserves the spotlight, and I think that it could be found in the back rooms, considering its design and its seemingly glitchedness. Okay, it doesn't feel like it should exist, hence why it would be in the back rooms. And at 8, High Score Toy Chica. High Score Toy Chica is the arcade skin for Toy Chica from the Arcade Mayhem event in FNAF AR Special Delivery. Last time I included System Error Toy Bonnie because a glitch like this would be present in the back rooms because it seems to be a sort of developer room where an animatronic like this could be present. High Score Toy Chica isn't really anything different. They're neon bluish black in color with glowing blue aura effects. It sports yellow and orange irises. Her forearms appear more blue and contain polycount textures. The Let's Party text for her bib is replaced by High Score in a pixelated font. And when her minigame appears, you gotta spam V to throw cupcakes at the child until they're happy. If you take too long, she's gonna jump scare you. But during encounters, she is replaced by her attack mode. Game over, Toy Chica. The glowing aura effects color changes from blue to purple and red. Her eyes are removed to reveal a red eye part thing. I don't know how to say this word, okay? Sclera, whatever. Her eyes are red, and her bib now reads game over. Like her original counterpart, her beak is also removed in this form. And you know what? This is totally something that I would expect to see in the back rooms, and she's kind of inviting me there, and maybe I wouldn't be too mad about it. And at 7, Phantom Animatronics. The Phantom Animatronics are hallucination variants of the original animatronics who haunt in Fazbear's Fright throughout the nights in FNAF 3. The Freddy Files book also points out that these hallucinations also appear burnt, suggesting that they're trying to warn you of what's to come. The Phantom Animatronics first appeared in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 as side antagonists. Some of them returned in Ultimate Custom Night, and then they all came back in Help Wanted. But given that these are hallucinations, it's entirely possible that these Phantom Animatronics could appear in the back rooms. Think about it. If you're stuck in an endless void of what looks to be the same area for who knows how long, you're gonna start to go crazy. Even if you don't, sleep deprivation at the hands of not wanting to get caught by the monster already in there would surely cause you to start hallucinating after being awake for 48 hours. So those hallucinations could very well be the same ones from FNAF 3, especially if you're a fan of the series. Halfway through, in at number 5, System Error Toy Bonnie. System Error Toy Bonnie is a neon-themed skin for Toy Bonnie released as part of FNAF AR's Arcade Mayhem event. And while it may seem peculiar and out of place in the back rooms, think about it. The back rooms is a location that's only accessible by no-clipping through the world, accidentally. So understandably, something that revolves around system errors would be lurking within this developer's room, okay? He looks the part too. He shares the same model as Toy Bonnie, but with a few key differences. His general color, including his bow tie, is a neon reddish orange with lines that go through his entire body, similar to the screen effect of an old CRT TV. He also has a pixelated 8-bit style effect coming from his entire body. His mouth and eyes gleam yellow, and red system error text is printed on his stomach, and glowing white eyebrows, freckle spots, and a glowing nose, but he's not Rudolph. How is this not creepy backrooms material, okay? It's a bit iffy, hence why it's still at number 5, but still, it could be cool. Penultimately in at number 2, Vanny Bots. The Vanny Bots, as I call them, or as they're listed on the wiki, the Nightmare staff bots, bear this same model appearance to their newer counterparts, excluding a rusty texture, glowing eyes, and a creepy smile drawn on their blank, unforgiving faces. They also have black tear streaks in a similar fashion to Nightmare, or more specifically, the ghosts of William Afton's past victims, seen in their ghost forms pixelated in the second and third game's minigames. The bots also have "In Your Dreams" written on their chest, because you know what? They had to do something. The Nightmare staff bots' roles are largely unchanged from regular staff bots. However, they only really appear like in a specific area, okay? The Vanny bots are only lethal in the sewers, killing the player if they fall into the pits, but they also mostly appear in hidden areas and during Vanny's final sequence where they disassemble Freddy and act as obstacles to the player reaching Vanny's room. They also appear guarding the FNAF 6 location during the true ending, otherwise known as the Canon or Afton ending. But just one look at these guys and you can see how I wouldn't be surprised if one of these, or a group of these, damn it, even ended up in the back rooms, because yeah. Finally, in at number 1, Glamrock Endo. The Glamrock Endos are the endoskeletons engineered for the Mega Pizzaplex's Glamrock animatronics and appear in FNAF Security Breach as a group of hostile enemies. The Glamrock Endos are a very high-tech version of the original endoskeleton, being gray in color as usual like Endos 1 and Endos 2, but they have a much stronger, bigger build with wider wider shoulders and a big like superhero kind of torso. This torso is also covered in gold wires and it's glowing red eyes. However, later in the ending it is also shown that their eyes were glowing as they were controlled by something else. But these damn things are creepy as hell and seem like they would fit right in with the Backroom's group of monsters. The Glamrock Endos can only move when the player is not looking at them. When the player stares at it, they will stand motionless, typically, unless they can't really tell because they're like behind a pole or something. When the player looks away, that's when it moves to attack. Most often they tend to be inert until the player performs an action which they are required to in the game, which actually ends up awakening them. What if these Endos have been present in the Backrooms this whole time, but they have been inactive until now? Yeah, and then all of a sudden they get activated and then you're screwed. Yeah, this would 100% be something that would be found in the Backrooms. You can't tell me anything different. Alright, you know. Then this is why I had to make a part 2 to put this on the list. Cause god damn, how did I miss this the first time? In at 10, Great Escape Golden Freddy. Great Escape Golden Freddy, or for short simply Great Escape Freddy, is the first Golden Freddy skin that was added into FNAF AR. He received this skin as a part of the special mixed reality DLC game mode Dark Circus Encore that released on December 13th, 2021. Great Escape Golden Freddy is identical to Golden Freddy in coloration, still being yellow, but now is a much duller shade, with black and green splotches on his head, legs, and feet. His head is severely withered in multiple areas, with most of it being deteriorated or missing, including half of his top hat. His eye sockets are completely empty, with holes going through the endoskeleton head and a chain running through his mouth. But like, just looking at this thing, I already fear for my life like I'm in another dimension or like a secret area of the simulation. So, seeing this thing in the Backrooms wouldn't, in my mind, be out of place. I mean, if this is where like defective game implements go, this could be a simple explanation for how this mess of a creature got there, because I don't think that this is intentional. At least it shouldn't be. And at 8, Shadow Animatronics. The Shadow Animatronics are ghost-like entities with an unknown place of origin, whereabouts, in history. Shadow Freddy and RWQFSFASXC, aka Shadow Bonnie, are the only two recurring Shadow Animatronics from throughout the series. The Shadow Animatronics lack solid forms as they appear to be shadows, supernatural specter-like things with forms based on the Fazbear Entertainment animatronics. Most of them have very dark colors while sporting glowing white eyes and teeth, which is just perfect for the context of the Backrooms. These dudes share a very similar style to the monster that we already see running around in the popular video series, and these dudes would pose an ever-looming threat that would really heighten the intensity of these videos. Imagine just like a shadow flying across the screen, or thinking you see some dark figure out of the corner of your eye, and then it's gone. A flashlight could be used as a defense mechanism. Okay, it would be cool. Okay, it would be cool. And it's 7, Mangle. Mangle is a major antagonist and one of the toy animatronics of the FNAF series, first appearing in FNAF 2. When transferring the core cast of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza into toy animatronics, Fazbear Entertainment tried to remake Foxy's design, thinking that the first one, ironically enough, was too scary. It was heavily altered to be more kid-friendly, making them the most drastically changed toy variant. However, now Mangle is just a muddled husk of endoskeleton that kids can pull apart and put back together, which is absolutely horrifying to say the least. But this kind of monster would absolutely be present in the horrific maze that is the Backrooms. I mean, just take a look at the monster already shown to be there. Throw a pink face on it and then boom, it's Mangle, okay? It's the same concept as the Blob or Nightmarion from the last part. It's just a jumbled mess of parts that would chase you until you throw yourself down a hole and drop your camera. And at 6, Nightmare Endo. Nightmare Endo is the animatronic endoskeleton of Nightmare Fredbear. He technically first debuted in FNAF 4, but returned as a minor Easter egg in Help Wanted to help provide a bit of context. Mostly since a lot of people, myself included, thought that Nightmare had a brain that was visible from the outside. I mean, I don't know why the Nightmare animatronic have an endoskeleton, or even why Nightmare especially has an endoskeleton, given that he's just a figment of Crying Child's coma-induced imagination, but nevertheless, Nightmare Endo is probably the scariest version of an endoskeleton that I have seen. Like, holy crap, if this thing doesn't belong in the Backrooms, I don't think any of these would, cause like this one is freaky, but realistically made and discarded by the devs. Or maybe the animatronic that this was made for in Chuck E. Cheese ended up falling through the world and then got into the Backrooms the same way we did. I don't know, I just think this style of character fits in here pretty well. Halfway through, in at number 5, Helpy. Helpy made his first appearance at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, aka FNAF 6. Helpy is a small animatronic mascot that has a very similar appearance to Funtime Freddy from Sister Location with white and purple colors, albeit being smaller and chubbier. He kinda has like a FNAF World kind of vibe. Helpy also lacks an endoskeleton, a speaker, inner wirings, and faceplates. His overall description though has many similarities, like I said, to the designs of the characters in the FNAF spin-off FNAF World, because he's more friendly looking and small and chonky. And while typically helpful characters wouldn't really be seen in the backrooms, Helpy seems to be able to get anywhere and everywhere he wants. He can seemingly come from the FNAF World game and become canon. He can pop up behind the monitor in FNAF VR on random occasions. He can pop up in like opening filing cabinets in FNAF 2 in FNAF VR, so I wouldn't put it past him for him just showing up in an area only accessible by no clipping out of reality. The man literally transcended game dimensions, or even in the context of FNAF, just normal dimensions, so yeah, Helpy in the backrooms, totally not out of the question. In fact, it should be canon. In at 4, the Blob. The Blob is an amalgamation of various animatronics that appears in FNAF Security Breach as a secret antagonist. And as its name suggests, the Blob is a huge mass of wire, tentacles, and animatronic parts possessing many glowing red eyes. However, this seems to be the right kind of monster that you would find in the backrooms. The Blob's mind is that of a mindless monster reacting with simple grunts and screeches that are both deep and distorted, as well as low mechanical sounding snoring noises. Some theorize that this implies all the animatronics making up the amalgamation are constantly fighting each other for control, which I think would fit perfectly with the monsters already established to be in the backrooms, especially those in the popular YouTube series that kinda brought back this creepypasta. Dude is like just a mass with a couple of animatronic plastic faces smacked on top. That is 100% something that you'd see out of like the corner of your eye and the corner of the frame, and then you'd pan to see it and it's gone. Getting close to the end, in number 3, Mapbot. Honestly, I kinda wish that there was a Mapbot in the backrooms. This would have been something that would be incredibly helpful in a seemingly infinite maze. The Mapbot is probably one of the most hated animatronics in FNAF of all time, with the worst jump scare in all of FNAF, but especially in all of Security Breach. This is something though that is certainly the scariest part of that game, and an unexpected jump scare that actually ends up even scaring me in the Security Breach, but it's ruined by Mod's series playthrough here on the channel. But the jump scare giving you a map for the basement levels actually could be useful if you were given a map for the back rooms. I mean, come on, we could really use one. Just look at like any actual image or design for the back rooms. It's all the same. And that's the point, okay? It's the same wall texture, it's the same floor texture. Even when you go to a different floor, it looks the same. Some landmarks, like maybe a dumpster, but nothing substantial enough to actually help you find your way until you get there. So yeah, a map would certainly come in handy. I don't think Mapbot would be in the backrooms for scare purposes, although it would certainly add to it. I think that the Mapbot would be there just as a bit of pity, you know, as a bit of help, so you could actually manage to find your way around if you could actually end up finding the Mapbot. Penultimately, and at number 2, Burn Trap. Burn Trap is the final boss of the true ending in FNAF Security Breach, and the last remains of William Afton's physical body after the events of Pizzeria Simulator. Just like Springtrap and Scraptrap from previous FNAF games, Burn Trap is a withered spring body animatronic infused with the corpse of William Afton. However, unlike the previous two, very little suit remains on his body, only having a head, ears, torso, pelvis, left thigh, and left foot. His endoskeleton appears to be a mixture of Springlock and Glamrock endoskeletons, and this dude is the scariest version of Afton yet. And I think it's kind of a monstrosity, and I think that this kind of monstrosity would fit perfectly within the style of the backrooms. He limps because he wasn't fully charged, he's part sentient code, which seems like the kind of lore that they would include, and he's just blatantly terrifying. If any version of Afton is going to be in the backrooms, it would be Burn Trap 100%, no question. And finally, in at number 1, Nightmarion. Nightmarion, commonly referred to as the Nightmare Puppet or Nightmarionette, is a nightmare animatronic in the FNAF series, first appearing in the Halloween update for FNAF 4, where it replaces Nightmare and thus shares the same behavior. But using the same argument as the Blob with the whole tentacle situation, Nightmarion is probably the most backrooms animatronic we have. Period. While yes, they did appear in FNAF 4's Halloween update, they also made an appearance in FNAF VR, where they antagonize the player in one of the Night Terror levels. But it's within this level where you can actually see how far of a reach this animatronic has, since if you look up to the ceiling and towards the bed, you can see tentacles slowly start to enter your room that you need to scare away with your flashlight. So basically, based on the really prevalent monster that we see in the backrooms, this man fits the bill right on, smack dab in the middle, plus a like 25% tip. Just saying.